Good evening, everybody. I know I had said I was going to make the heavenly hash cake tonight, but I had a request for the strawberry pretzel jello pie. Had to do a little research, and I found an awesome recipe for it. I went to the store today and I seen the strawberries were on sale, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make that tonight. So I'm just gonna go over the ingredients first and then we'll do the steps. So you're going to need 2 cups of crushed pretzels. You're gonna need 1/4 of a cup sugar and a stick of melted butter. That's gonna be for the crust. You're gonna need a 9 by 13 pan. You're going to mix your cream cheese with 1/2 cup of sugar. And then for your jello, you're going to do your jello with 2 cups of boiling water, which I have right here. And then you're going to have a pound of sliced strawberries. And then you're going to need Cool Whip. So the first step I'm going to do is you make your jello first. So I'm going to mix this jello up, and then we're going to do the crust next. So I'm going to get this opened up, and let's get this mixed up real quick. And it says just to set aside once you get your jello mixed up and let it cool at room temperature while you're making everything else. So I'm going to pour my 2 cups in, and we're just going to kind of mix this. It's not, you just have to make sure it's good and mixed up. All right. I'm going to get my mixer out so I can mix up my cream cheese and my sugar, and I'll be right back. Okay, so while the cream cheese is getting a little bit more softened, it says to go ahead and do the crust. So you've got a stick of melted butter, and it does say unsalted. And you're going to put in your 2 cups of crushed pretzels and your 1/4 a cup of sugar, okay? And then we're just going to kind of mix this up. You're going to want to make sure you get all of your pretzels covered really good. Now, once this is mixed up, and the butter, everything is all coated with butter, I'm going to press it into this pan, and we're going to put it in the oven at 350. So just give me just a minute to finish getting this all mixed up. Okay, so now once you got it pressed into the bottom, and just make sure, you're going to see the pretzels are not all uniform. I didn't use a food processor or anything. I just went ahead and crushed them in the bag. You're going to just want to make sure there's no bald spots. So you get this pressed in here, and we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes, okay? So I'm going to get this put in the oven, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so our next step is going to be mixing our cream cheese, our softened cream cheese, with our sugar. And I thought I had it out a second ago. I was going to put some, oh, there it is. I was going to put a capful of vanilla extract. I just usually like to put a little bit of vanilla in there. So that's about a teaspoon worth. And we're going to get this mixed up. Okay. So just get this mixed up until it's softened. You don't want to over mix it. You don't want it to lose its you don't want it to get too wet. So I'm going to get this mixed up, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I have that mixed up, and what you're going to do is you're going to fold. Now you're going to fold in your whipped topping. And if you've ever done the folding, then you know you've got to be really gentle so you don't basically turn your whipped cream back into cream. So you're going to just fold this in gently until it is mixed. Now that just means you're just kind of like turning it, you're folding it in. So once we get this folded in, we're going to put this in the refrigerator, because once the pretzels come out of the oven, then of course they're going to have to cool. So I have this in the refrigerator while that is cooling down, because this is going to be your bottom layer, and then you're going to put your jello. So everything kind of has to be good and cool, so you don't have they don't bleed into each other, and they don't make the crust soggy. So I'm going to get this folded in. I'm going to finish folding this in, and then I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and when the crust comes out of the oven and it's cooled off, I will put everything together. So just hold on, y'all. Okay, so we're finally at the finishing steps here. So this is cooled off. It's been about 15 minutes. It says to make sure this is cool. So you make sure this is not hot at all. So I've gotten my cream cheese mixture out of the refrigerator, and you're just going to put this on there, and you're going to smooth it out. Okay, let's get this on here. Oh, boo-boo, don't lose that. Make sure I get all the goodies here. Okay. And then we're going to just kind of spread this out evenly in the pan. Okay, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. I'm going to just pause this. Okay, so once you've got that, you know, smoothed out over the top, you're going to set that aside a minute and you're going to get your Jell-O. Now this Jell-O's just been sitting out while all this has been going on just at room temperature. And then you're going to put in your strawberries. Now you're going to save, it says to put all of them, but you're going to want to save, you know, a few for decoration. So I'm just going to keep kind of a few out. Make sure you stir this in. Make sure they're nice and stirred up. Because, you know, the Jell-O, some of the Jell-O's kind of start, you know, it'll start kind of like tightening up a little bit. All right. Now, once you do that, you're going to gently pour this over. Okay. I know that don't look too gently, does it? Okay, let's just easy. Oops, that Jell-O started kind of hardening on the bottom there. I ain't supposed to have done that. Okay. All right, and you're just going to want to spread out your strawberries. Make sure you get strawberries everywhere. Okay. Now this is going to be covered, and you're going to put this in your refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours, or until, you know, until the Jell-O is hardened, until all of it's kind of hardened like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. I'm going to check it in about 3 hours so I could go ahead and cut it for you guys so you could see what it looks like. Of course, if you make this at night, which would probably be a good thing to make it, you know, and then you could just let it sit overnight. So I'm going to get this covered up in the refrigerator, and we're going to check it in about 3 hours. Okay, y'all, I will be the first to admit when I screwed up, because I went back and I looked, and apparently while everything was cooling, after I put on this cream cheese layer, I was supposed to put it in the refrigerator and cool it for 30 minutes before I put the Jell-O on, so that the Jell-O didn't absorb into the cream cheese, which, as you can see, I don't have much of a Jell-O top. Now, even though that happened, I'm sure this is going to taste scrumptious, but another thing I would have done differently is, instead of 1 thing of cream cheese, I would have used 2 and a cup of sugar, so that you would have a thicker cream cheese layer. And yes, I would have put it in the refrigerator to cool for about 45 minutes before I put on the Jell-O. And I would not have put room temperature Jell-O. I would have put that in the refrigerator for a little while too, at least to kind of get it to a jiggly stage, because this all kind of blended. But I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to see. And I'm doing the middle here because, you know, I could tell that it kind of sunk down here. So we shall see. Let's scoop this out. Okay. All right. So now if you look at it, I mean, it looks pretty. It's just I don't have as much Jell-O. It's supposed to have a nice thick Jell-O layer. And it did absorb some, so, okay, I'm running out of time here. I only have 10 minutes. So, this is how it looks. And yes, it tastes delicious. But again, I would have used two cream cheeses, 1 cup of sugar, put it in the refrigerator, cooled the Jell-O some with the strawberries in it before putting that layer on there. Okay? Well, if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy, y'all.